Open snooker tips. I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. What I've got here is a cue ball in between the middle pockets and the blue spot. What I'm going to do is explain the stand shot. Basically, when you're cueing the cue ball, you want to be striking literally centre ball or slightly below, okay, with a standard tip. I'll use a different tip so I don't exactly strike there, so where I'm striking is immaterial. But that's where you should be striking. And the idea of the shot is to stop the ball where the blue ball is. So I'll just demonstrate this just once. As you can see, it stops where the blue ball was. Now, you won't go running around the table looking for a blue. I've already got some reds either side of the table, so I can just carry on like this. Now, the stun shot isn't just to be played in a straight line. The stun shot can also be used to open a pack from the pink, like so. Now, what I've done is, just for demonstration purposes, I've only put 3 reds on there with the pink, okay? The idea is to make contact with the pink in any way, shape or form. If you hit it full in the face, that's great, but if not, don't worry about it. A lot of people screw off of this, okay? I've been asked to do this a few times, but I'm just going to demonstrate this for you first. There's the line down through the ball. There's the centre of the table, and we just put a ball there on the brown spot. Now what I'm going to do is half ball this. That basically means that half of that red ball is being covered up. So you move yourself to an angle where you can see that half the red ball is covered up. Bring the white back, and that should be a half ball. This is how I show people how to do it quickly. What we'll do, just try and keep in mind the red's down there. So half ball pop from there. Okay, that's half ball shot. You can understand what's going on here now. And basically all I'm doing is putting this half ball and playing the cannon. No side, no top, no bottom. Just like that. Just cannon the ball. That's exactly the same in the other direction. So what you have is that. So half ball off of there gives you that cannon. Okay? And also it means that if you were 3/4 ball, that would cannon the yellow. I hope you're following this now, because obviously the angle has changed. These are simple angles that professional players will know and understand. Generally amateurs don't bother too much about this, depending on the level of skill of course. So without being silly, that shows a different way of playing the angle. But the angle here doesn't change. You're still playing that ball half full. And you'll send the white on that path there, half ball, and it will come off straight if you stun it. Now I'll just demonstrate this very quickly. If I played with screw and watch the difference, see how it's changed the angle completely? It changed the throw of the cue ball as it comes off. The contact area is the same, so I'm still playing it half ball, but because I'm playing below centre of the cue ball, it means that it throws out wider. It changes the angle. Okay, I hope you got that now. It also means that if I was playing that ball there would be the half ball shot to the middle pocket, as an example, like that. So I'm playing that red there to that centre pocket over there. So if I play that half ball, the cue ball is going to come off at that angle. And it'll be the same every single time. It never changes, it's a constant. And there's the line, straight off the ball, straight to the corner pocket. The only reason I know this is because this is something you practice as a decent player. You will practice this. Put a red back on the middle spot. I'm not screwing off this ball, I'm stunning off it. Pop you over here, and then I'm just going to open the pack. So what we have there is exactly the same half ball angle. I'm approximately 2 feet away from that red ball, which is a half ball shot. To confirm that, we just pop a ball behind it, and we can see that that's a half ball, because half of this red ball here is visible from this ball here, okay? So we know that we're striking half ball. As long as we strike the ball centrally, then this will be the shot. Half ball contact, pot the ball, get the cannon. It's a shot you can't miss, to be honest. Everyone makes this out to be so difficult. It isn't difficult. What it is that people don't know the angles. You need to know the angle of the ball coming off of the red. So if you know that that shot that you're playing is half full, it makes no difference. But there's the angle to the ball, but there's the angle that the white will throw off. It will throw off that way, straight to the pink spot, because you're half ball here. So long as you don't put bottom on it. If you put bottom on it, the ball's going to screw out away from the object ball, off the contact. It's going to arc away from the pack, even if you only play with a little bit of bottom. If you played it a 3/4 ball, that's different. If you played it 3/4 ball, that is so much easier. That's a definite screw shot then, and you can make the angle. So that's an area there that you would then screw off, because that's now a 3/4 ball pot to the middle pocket. There's the angle of the red. Don't really need to look at that because you're looking at the cue ball. And once you put your cue through here at 3/4 ball, you would definitely miss that pack. I'll prove what I'm saying just by potting the ball. So you're high, you're over here. But if you change the angle of that ball by screwing it, then you can actually get into the pack. There's your 3/4 ball again. Slightly thick actually, but there's your 3/4 ball. And this time I'll screw the ball, and there's the pack. A little bit off, because I've got to be honest, I'm not cueing that brilliantly today. But I'm sure you've got the gist of it. And it just goes to show that you don't need to screw the ball all over the table. There's plenty of effort in the ball without screwing it. I could play this 50 times and not miss it, simply because I'm just playing half ball off of this angle. So that means that half of that ball there is being covered up, and that's how you recognise the angle. You try to imagine the cue ball striking when you're looking from behind the cue ball, and that gives you a straight line then off that ball, straight down to the pink ball. Everyone makes this out to be so difficult. It can be difficult if you don't play it correctly. If you play it correctly, you almost can't fail to make contact with it. There's a difference right now in what you're seeing, because I'm not playing into a large pack. If there was a flat here, so that they were like this, that would be so much easier to hit, obviously, because it's a larger target area. If the balls are already broken up, you may not even need to necessarily go into them. But the more balls that are behind the pink, the easier that shot becomes, because the cue ball will strike it, and when it strikes the pack here, see how they push away? I'll just show you this very, very briefly, because I'm running out of time. If you've got the pink on its spot like so, and you do make contact with that ball in any way, as long as it's no less than half ball, you'll end up with that. But because the weight of the pack is all behind it, it makes the cue ball stop anyway. If you screw into the pack, what will happen is the ball will bounce away. So depending where you want the cue ball, in what area you want it in, which is a little bit advanced actually, depending on the area you want the cue ball in, depends whether you screw onto it or not. And also it depends on what the ball is from here. I mean, there's no point playing off the centre pocket there down to those reds, that pack, from that distance with only one ball on. You would try and do it with security in mind, from a gameplay point of view. So if you were playing that half ball, you've got to remember also, this is something I do find strange actually, there's only two definite aiming positions. One is full ball, and the other one is half ball, which is that one there. Okay? Those are the only two absolute, definite, perfect times you can cue in a straight line without putting anything on the cue ball and have a perfect aiming line. Because those are the two lines you can see. The outside edge of the ball would be one, and the centre of the ball would be the other one from this angle. So because you're doing this, and you're playing that with stun, it makes it a piece of cake really, doesn't it? It does take practice. I'm not making this simpler than it really is. But every time you play that ball, if you played that half ball every time, the white ball would come off at that angle. Okay? And you don't have to screw into it unless you're 3/4 ball or less. If you're 3/4 ball, it's like this. That would mean that 3/4 of that ball is being covered up. If you like that, then, you know, that then becomes a slightly different shot. Then you would need a little bit of screw, or you could even play it with side. But of course you need some power. If you've got a full pack down here to go into, you need a little bit of power at least to get them open. And you don't want to stick on the pink, do you? That'd be the worst thing you could do, because you've opened all the reds up to your opponent and you stick on the pink, you're kind of in trouble off the blue. So that's the idea of the shot anyway. Hope you get it from that. Bye bye from Snooker Tips.